Sitting on the bench at the moment is a vibratory tumbler, this particular one having come from Frost's. See the number there in case anyone's interested. I bought this on eBay for £75. You can see it looks like new. If you look inside the hopper, the listing said it had been used maybe half a dozen times, but that it had been blowing fuses. So it was up north, collection only, but I had a friend of mine go and collect it, and eventually, just recently, he brought it down to me. It came in its original box. I unpacked it, pulled it apart, and I did an investigation. It is in fact all in bits at the moment, so I'll show you basically what I found. We're now looking at the underside of the unit, and you can see that the motor's apart. Screws that held the motor together, and they just had a serrated flange nut, and one of these had completely fallen out. The other one was loose, and the end of the motor casing was barely hanging on. And if you look at the rotor, you can see that it had been rubbing, and possibly had got to the stage where it was just stationary and had blown whatever low rated fuse it had been supplied with. It's only a 50 watt motor, and when it turned up it had a 13 amp fuse in it. When I realigned the motor casing and tightened the screws, it ran absolutely fine. But whilst it's apart, I'm going to modify this, and I'll show you what the problem is with the way these are built, and reference a video by Tony Fole, whose YouTube channel I believe is Moto Chassis. And Tony Fole wrote one of the best books on motorcycle chassis and handling, and you should check out his channel. And I think the website is motochassis.com. If it's not, it's tonyfole.com. And in his video he modified a Harbour Freight vibratory tumbler, a smaller one than this, and as standard the rotor would be in this way up, and the eccentric weight would be on the bottom of the motor shaft. And Tony shows that this is a less than optimal positioning for the out of balance weight. So whilst I had this one apart, I was thinking about how to modify it to have the weight as close to the hopper as possible, and I realised it's very easy to just take the rotor out and put it in the other way up, at which point you end up with the shaft sticking out the top. So I've now got the motor shaft protruding through the top and the eccentric weight clamped on, and this has a cover, and I think its original purpose was just to cover in the spring area. It's more or less just a cosmetic item, but if I space it up from the main platform, it makes a little chamber for the weight to exist in, and then I will have the weight just below the hopper. Okay, you can see I've now got the out of balance weight above this base plate, and you can also see I've modified the weight. I've cut away some sections to increase the out of balance forces. I have actually had this all put together and tested and felt that it wasn't didn't have enough out of balance force to agitate the media as well as I would like. So I've got some spacers, and we'll bolt the top platform stroke cover on. Now, because of these bolt heads, I have to have a spacer for the bowl to sit on, I've welded a boss on for the rod to retain the bowl so that there's nothing protruding down below this platform. So we'll get everything secured and the bowl put on and see how well it's working. Now this is just the media that came with the machine, which I think is a ceramic. Yeah, I think that's a ceramic. Not really enough. I think it's only 1 kilo and the recommended fill is about 4 kilos. But certainly when I first tried this, the media was really just jiggling around and there was no circulation. But with the weight moved up, the action's not as vigorous as I'd like. It might be better with a larger fill, but certainly we have a functional vibratory tumbler and a better movement of the media. So at some stage in the future I'll give this a test with some real parts.